Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon. My name is Ahmed. My name is Ahmed Kaki, spelled Ahmadkaki. I'm with the CAIR National Legal Defense Fund. I have with me Dr. Osama Abu Irshid, the Executive Director of American Muslims for Palestine, and a plaintiff in the lawsuit. He's on my right. And on my left is Gadir Abbas, the National Deputy Director of the CAIR National Legal Defense Fund. His name is spelled Gadeirabbas. We're here to announce a lawsuit on behalf of our plaintiffs challenging their unconstitutional placement on the federal terrorist watch list for their advocacy for Palestinians as they endure a genocide in Gaza at the hands of the Israeli government with American weapons. At first, I'd like to introduce Dr. Osama.
Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon. When I first came to the United States almost 3 decades ago, what appealed to me the most about it were the constitutional rights and civil liberties that guarantee humans' dignity. As a journalist, I appreciated the freedom of expression, the right of political dissent, the rule of law, and equality before it. I also appreciated and still appreciate that neither Congress nor the government can enact laws that violate constitutional articles, and that security agencies have no right to infringe on people's rights under flimsy pretexts and without judicial permission and a due process. Nevertheless, the terrorist attacks of September 11, 2001 in New York and Washington turned things upside down in the United States. Harsh laws were enacted that infringed on the civil and constitutional rights of American citizens, including the right to privacy and the presumption of innocence until proven guilty. American Muslims in particular became suspects merely because of their religious and ethnic backgrounds and were treated as guilty until proven innocent. I understand the need to maintain security, but it must be conducted consistent with American values, constitutional and legal rights and protections. Personally, I have been one of those who has paid a heavy price since 2001 to this day. My citizenship was delayed from 2006 to 2017 due to baseless doubts, and I only received it when I went to court. I was placed on a watch list from 2010 to 2017. I lost job offers as a result. It greatly deprived me from enjoying my familial life, both because of the psychological pressures I was under and the constant fear of what might be coming, and because I could not travel with my family often so as not to expose them to harassment and humiliation. Now, 7 years after my name was removed from the watch list, I find myself back on it. But this time, because of my opposition to and advocacy against genocide as qualified by the International Courts of Justice and many UN humanitarian and human rights organizations, including American ones. They all qualified what Israel is committing in Gaza, in the Gaza Strip, as genocide. As a human being, I reject killing, maiming, displacement, starvation, and terrorization of tens of thousands of children, women, civilians, and innocents, regardless of their nationalities, religious, ethnic, and cultural backgrounds. Moreover, as an American, I reject the complicity by American decision makers in supporting such crimes with weapons, money, and the diplomatic immunity they provide to Israel. The right to political dissent is protected by the First Amendment. This does not make me less patriotic, but rather makes me more in line with American values. My saga with the watch list started again this last May. This is not to say that I haven't faced inconveniences on previous trips upon my return, but not with this ferocity. But back in May, I was unable to print my boarding pass until after about 2 hours of waiting and calls from the ticket agent with security. Of course, it takes more than 3 hours to get to make it on your flight. The same thing happened upon my return from my overseas trip in June. This reoccurred last July when I traveled abroad, and this August when I returned to the United States. Each time I was subjected to a humiliating, unjustified, and invasive search and interrogation. Upon my return to the United States from the two international trips last June and this August, federal agents stopped me. The CPP agent who interrogated me at Dallas Airport last June implied that the reason I was being targeted was my political activism for Palestinian rights and against the Israeli genocide. He did allude to the smear campaigns launched by Islamophobic group and some right-wing members of Congress against the organization I head, American Muslims for Palestine, and me personally. This was a shock to me. As I told the federal agent at the time, I never imagined that my government would become party to political debate and dispute or frivolous civil lawsuits, politicizing security and weaponizing the government against its own citizens is inconsistent with American constitutional and civil rights. One of the most painful moments for me was when I had a layover in London coming back early this month, when the ticket agent told me, she's British, told me that it's maybe better for me to change my name because that's the cause of my problems, and my name is Osama, O-S-A-M-A. Given what I have been experiencing now recently and before, because I've been through this, as I said, since 2010 and 2017, and between 2017 and 24 I was still being subjected to harassment, but not as the way now I'm facing the harassment. I'm joining this lawsuit because I have every right to defend my constitutional rights, to defend my civil liberties, and to be treated with dignity. I refuse to be assumed guilty until proven innocent, and I refuse to be convicted by the security apparatuses without a due process. I don't know what I'm accused of, other than what the federal agent told me, that I am being targeted precisely because of the campaigns against me. And these campaigns are in right-wing media outlets by some zealous members of Congress who want to do the dirty job of Israel at the expense of American citizens and American national interests. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Osama. Up next to talk a little bit about the lawsuit is CAIR National Deputy Litigation Director Gadir Abbas.
Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon. This watch list is what the FBI uses against innocent people. Because when someone is guilty of a crime, the FBI does not use a secret list against them. Instead, the FBI arrests them. The FBI works with its foreign intermediaries to detain those people. But here, in this case, the FBI is now using its secret watch list against people that are advocating for the rights of Palestinians, criticizing Israel. Just like in prior years, it used its secret watch list against critics of the Iraq War. And in the future, it'll be used against whoever happens to be unpopular at the time. This is lawlessness. It's lawlessness for federal agents to greet an American citizen arriving from abroad rather than facilitate their entry, to interrogate them, detain them, and seize their electronic device. In this part of the country, in the Fourth Circuit, in Virginia, Maryland, that's illegal. It's been illegal for years and years and years, but the federal agents are doing it anyways. And they're doing it anyways because they have the secret list. And because of the way that they use the secret list, it violates the constitutional rights of Osama, of Mustafa, and the thousands, tens of thousands of Muslim Americans and millions of innocent people all over the world that have been affected by this watch list. Great, and we'll take some questions now, if anybody has any.
Yes, please. I have lots of questions. I want to ask if these measures have increased after war in Gaza.
I think that it's turned against, for Osama's case is a good example of how you had, he was on the watch list for years and years and years, and then he was removed from the watch list. And then after October, I think we've all been monitoring the FBI with the expectation that they would turn their surveillance against Palestinian Americans. And Osama's case, we think, is an example of that trend, and it's a lawsuit aimed at confronting it at its beginning rather than when it metastasizes.
Do you have a number that is Watchlist or?
Yeah, we have there was a leaked copy, a 2019 copy of the watch list. We know how many Muhammads are on that list. If you just take the name of the Prophet Islam, peace be upon him, 1/3 of the 1.6 million watch list entries have one of those names as the first name or the last name. 1/3. So we estimated that that more than 98% of those 1.6 million entries are Muslim names, and we've scrolled through it. It's so overwhelmingly clear that it's a secret list of Muslims. That's what it is.
Sure, one question more. Is there other in your law case, or just Mr. Osama and Mr. Mustafa?
There's a lot of cases, and CAIR has been bringing these cases since 2010, and we recently, the Supreme Court heard our challenge to the no-fly list out in Oregon. But the FBI and the government fights very hard against these cases, and so we're still working on it. Yeah. Any other questions? Great. Thank you.